Oh, hello everyone. Welcome on board the Sketchcan caravan, where you can learn to draw a family eating a meal together. Families come in all shapes and sizes. In this picture, we can see Granny feeding a baby and Auntie talking to the big brother. They're eating out of bowls. Maybe they're having porridge for breakfast, or soup for lunch, or maybe noodles for dinner. To start this picture, we're going to draw the table. In the middle of your page, draw a long straight line, making sure you leave some space either end for the people to sit. We're going to turn this line into a trapezium. This will make the top of our table. So starting about here, draw another long straight line which is a bit shorter than the first one, and then join them up on each end. There is a tablecloth hanging down the side. Let's use a long rectangle for this. So starting on one corner, draw down, and then start to draw along the bottom. And you can make this side a little bit wavy if you like, to show it's made of cloth, and then go straight up to join the other corner. On each end of the tablecloth, we need to draw a table leg. So we use a short standing up rectangle for these. Try and make them the same length. And then on each end of this table, we're going to see the side of a chair. So starting about here, draw a short lying down rectangle for the seat. 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Then from each bottom corner of that rectangle, draw a tall standing up rectangle for legs. We can only see 2 from this angle. Then you can draw one more on top at the back of the seat to show the back of the chair. At the other end of the table, you could draw another chair like this one. Or you could draw a high chair for a baby. Or maybe you could draw a wheelchair. It depends on who's going to sit there. Let's have a go at the high chair in this picture. Starting near the top of the table, draw a very thin, short lying down rectangle. Then on each end of that rectangle, you can draw tall, thin rectangles for the legs. They can slope out slightly, so the bottom of the high chair is wider than the top. This helps to make it more stable, so it doesn't fall over. And to make it even stronger, add 2 more lying down rectangles to join the legs together. Then on the back of the seat, you can draw a standing up thin rectangle for the back of the chair. Then halfway up this rectangle, you need to add another lying down rectangle. This is the side of the high chair, which extends out to the front all the way to the table to make it into the tray where the baby has its food. It's like a mini table just for the baby. You can draw a short standing up rectangle at the front of the seat to hold the tray up, and one more lying down rectangle just below the seat, and this is where the baby will rest its feet. Next, we're going to draw a bowl for each person sitting at the table. So let's start by drawing a semicircle bowl for Granny, and she's going to be sitting about here. Just above the back line of the table, draw a straight line across and then curve under the bowl and back to where you started. You can add some skinny little ovals or rectangles for the utensils, maybe a spoon or a fork or a pair of chopsticks. Let's add another semicircle here for the big brother, and one here for the auntie, and one on the tray for the baby. Behind each bowl, we're going to draw the person's body, and for this we're going to draw a rectangle with curvy corners. So let's start with Granny. So just to one side of her bowl, on the edge of the table, draw up the side of her body, across her shoulders, curve around and down the other side. The big brother's body should be smaller than Granny's because he's a child and she's an adult. So let's draw up, across and down the other side. The baby's body starts at the back of the chair and goes up, across the shoulders and down the other side. And Auntie's body starts right near the corner of the table. Draw up, over her shoulder and down her back, and just below the corner of the table, stop and draw her waistline, which joins up to the edge of the tablecloth. Under her waistline, we see the side of her leg disappearing under the table. So starting on the corner, draw down, around and under her bottom, along the edge of the seat, until you reach the edge of the tablecloth. Then you can draw little lines for the necks. Blip, 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 blip. And then circles for everybody's heads. One line that goes all the way around. And when you've done this, you can give everybody a face and some hair. Think about where they're looking and whether they've got their mouths open because they're speaking or eating, or if they're smiling or if they're cross. You can decide. Maybe they're having an argument or just a happy conversation. We also need to think about their arms and what they're doing. So Granny's arm is sticking out straight towards the baby. So starting on her shoulder, draw a straight line out, a short line down and back in for the arm. Then you can draw a semicircle for the hand with a little rectangle for a spoon that's going into the baby's mouth. Her other arm is bent and it's leaning on the table. Draw out to a point which is touching the table and then into another point and stop. Then you can do the same thing again, starting a bit lower down the side of her body. Draw a sloping line out to a point on the edge of the table and follow that other line in and then close it with a short line at the end of the sleeve. You can draw a semicircle on the end for her hand. You can do a similar thing for the big brother's arm, starting on his shoulder. Draw out to a point on the edge of the table and in front of his bowl. And because his arm's very close to the edge, we'll just draw the end of his sleeve up onto the side of the table and a semicircle for his hand. His other arm is behind the table, so we just need to draw the top of it, which is like a curvy topped rectangle. We're looking at the baby's arm from the side. It looks a bit like a sausage. So starting about here, draw straight out towards the bowl, down the edge of the sleeve and back and round the shoulder. And maybe the baby's hand is on the side of the bowl, so you can draw a little circle there. We can just see the top line of the other arm holding the other side of the bowl. And we'll use a line down oval for the baby's foot, and then you can draw a line down to show the front of its leg. Maybe a little curve at the back there for the baby's bottom. We're also looking at Auntie from the side. So starting about here, draw down towards the front and then straight across to her bowl. Draw down her sleeve, follow it back to about the corner of the table and then straight up and over her shoulder. And you can do a semicircle for her hand. And on the other side of her body, we can just see her lower arm sticking out. So let's draw a little rectangle and a circle. I think she's just about to pick up her spoon. All we've got left to draw now are their legs, which are just poking out underneath the tablecloth. So Auntie's leg is very close to this table leg, so draw a rectangle sticking down there with a line down oval for a foot. And underneath the big brother we can see 2 chair legs and 2 feet dangling down. He can't reach the floor because he's too short. Then under Granny we need to see 2 chair legs, the same as the big brother's. And her feet will reach the ground. So let's imagine she's wearing a skirt. So do a line down rectangle that meets the edge of the tablecloth, and then 2 thin rectangles for her legs poking out the bottom, and some ovals for her feet. Maybe you could try drawing your own family at the table. I wonder what they'll look like. Don't forget the children need to be smaller than the adults. And if you have a lot more people in your family, you might need a longer table.